and welcome back to Diecast Graveyard. My name is Paul. Today we got a special build going on. Brian at Diecast OutKast has made a challenge to restore a Hot Wheels Redline. Now this is something that I do quite often, as everyone well knows, but I'm going to choose a really special car, and that's the Hot Wheels Custom Dodge Charger. This car is, well, it's definitely one that you want in your collection. You can find them on eBay. They're fairly expensive. They go for quite a bit. Fortunately, I had a bunch of these from a while back, and I've been kind of hoarding them a little bit. But I want to restore this one here. Now, May 18th is National Hot Wheels Day. This is the day that Hot Wheels were first introduced to the public in 1968. So this is why Brian has put out this challenge. Now please look for a link in the comments section for some of the other builders that are participating in this restoration project. Let's go ahead and get started. Here I've got the car already drilled apart. Now the post on the front is incredibly narrow, as you'll see here. There's a lot of paint missing off this, and there's a little bit of dents here and there. But that post up front by the engine, man, is that narrow and is it very, very short. I actually blew the post out as I was drilling it, so I'm going to have to repair the post, which works out good because then I get to show you folks how to repair it. And I definitely want to do that. The base is in fairly good shape. The wheels are a little bit sloppy, but there's not too much we can do about that. These bearings or these axles are actually crimped in place. They're not replaceable. I mean, you can replace them if you have a donor, but then you're going to have to super glue them in place or mess around with it a bit. It's really a pain right in the butt. But the interior is in good shape. We just need to clean that up with some soap and water and a toothbrush. And the windshield's in good shape. We just got to polish that up. But that's going to turn out fantastic when we're done. Let's get the body in some paint stripper, some citrus strip. We'll throw it in there and mix it all up. Now we're going to go ahead and restore it in the original purple, or as I call it, plum crazy purple, and the Spectre Flame paint. And we're going to let that sit in the paint stripper for a little while and let that soak. And it'll take all the paint off with no issues, which will be really cool. Now this paint stripper, the citrus strip, is available at Walmart, and it's incredibly cheap. It works slow, but it works. Now, there's a lot of toning on this car. There's a lot of pits. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to zinc plate it. I've got my zinc plating solution, which is a mixture of distilled white vinegar and some sea salt. I fill up the jar with the white vinegar, and it's got approximately a half a cup to 3/4 of a cup of sea salt. Now I do have a video, and I will leave a link in the very last page on how to zinc plate. I put the car in for approximately 15 to 30 minutes, and then I'll come back out and I'll rub it down with a brass brush. Now, as it zinc plates the body, the coating on there is a little bit rough. And if you looked at it with a microscope, you could see that it looked like mountain peaks and everything. So this is why you've got to clean it up in between each coat. Now I'll put approximately 3 coats on there, which is what I have done eventually with this car. But you can see already the difference from the first zinc plate, how much it coats and how much you can buff it up to a really nice shine. And then once you polish it down with some steel wool and make it look really nice, maybe even with a little bit of light sandpaper, you can polish this up, man, and make it look so sweet. I'm going to go over the entire car, not necessarily the inside, but I'm going to go over the entire car, smooth it down, and then we're going to put it back into the zinc plating solution. Look at the difference already just from one layer of zinc coating. Again, I've got a video in the how-to section on my playlist on how to zinc plate a car. Now, it's very easy to do this. It's very simple. The most expensive part of the zinc plating is with the zinc plates itself. Now you can see here that I blew out this front post. And that's even with the 1/72 tap set. If you were to use a 256, the thing would be completely gone. I'm going to take a piece of brass pipe that I got from Hobby Lobby, cut off a small piece, and I'm going to super glue that right over the top of the post. Now I want to give credit where credit is due. I learned this procedure from Paul at Fat Guy Productions. Paul is an excellent builder, and he's got a really good mind when it comes to these restorations. I super glued the post down, then I'm going to pack the inside of the post with some baking soda. Once I insert the baking soda, then I'm going to put in some liquid super glue. Not the gel stuff, but the very thin stuff. And it's going to immediately harden. Once I get to that point, there's the baking soda right there. It immediately hardens. It's a chemical reaction. Then I'm going to file it down with a small file so I can get it to fit on the base. Now, with the little protrusion sticking out there in the front on the inside, I also had to grind that down to get that new post to fit on the car. This is something that you're going to have to experiment with, folks. It's a really good repair, but it might not fit if the post is too wide for the hole. So you've got to go in and, like I said, you've got to experiment here. I can tell you how I do it, but you're going to have to play with it yourself, you know, and that's really going the wrong way that I wanted to go here. Anyways, the repair worked well. Looking good. Now look at that nice finish on there too. Now we just got to polish it up. We've gone ahead and polished it up. Now we're going to get some of that plum crazy purple or that Spectre Flame purple on this car. I try and get all the hard to reach areas first, inside the fender wells, inside the doors, and then I'm going to come back and do the outside of the car. I'm putting down some very light mist coats, and I'm going to let it tack up a little bit in between, usually close to about 10 minutes. That way there it starts to tack up and gum up, and it allows the paint to stick to it a lot better. If you put it all down as one big wet coat, it's going to run on you, folks, and you're going to wind up having to take the paint off again. So please take your time and do this. This is the second series of coats after the first series of tack coats dried. Now we can put it down a little bit thicker. Man, look at that beautiful Spectre Flame paint from the Redline shop. This stuff works fantastic. If you follow the manufacturer's specifications and how they tell you how to do this, this stuff works great. 5 drops of paint to 1 drop of hardener. Now, I've got these little plastic pipettes that I use to put the paint in my little mixing cups. And I already know exactly where the line needs to be for the paint and where the line needs to be for the hardener. So I don't have to keep measuring out drips and drops every single time. I'll go over that with you in a future video. That way there it will help you along. Man, that paint is fantastic. Please check out the Redline shop's paints and all the other things they offer at www.redlineshop.com. Now we're going to work on the base. Here we've got my Blue Magic Metal Polish Cream. And I like the cream stuff. I don't care for the wet liquid like that. We're going to go ahead and rub down the base with this cream and polish it up really nice. Make sure you put the lid back on, because if not, your cream will fill full of cloth fibers. Trust me on this one. That's your hint from your Uncle Paulie, okay? So go ahead and get your Dremel or whatever polishing tool you're using and take care of that. Now don't forget to hit that subscribe button and click on that little bell to be alerted to future videos. Just keep polishing it down until it gets to the finish you want. Now this is going to look really good when we're done. Now also, when I'm done with this, I'm going to go over it with a toothbrush to get all the little black residue from polishing out of the inside of the letters and stuff like that, and make it look that much better. This is really cool. Now that we got the base all polished up, we're going to go ahead and replace the tires. Take your thumb, put it on either side of the wheel, put equal pressure on the wheel, and pop that tire off. If it starts to stretch on you or it's really tough to remove, then go ahead and cut the wheel off. Don't take any chances of ruining your axle or your bearing. We'll set those aside. Looking good. This car takes 4 medium bearing style wheels. Now, the Redline shop also has a tire selection tool on their website. So if you go to order tires off there for an individual car, you can put these wheels on, or you can check out this tire selection tool and it'll tell you exactly what tires you need to order for that particular car. It's pretty darn cool. Check it out. I put the adjustment tool on there that I also got from the Redline shop, and I put it between the bearing, the axle, and the base, and I go ahead and I put those new sneakers on there. Got 4 medium meats all the way around. Now we're going to take the paint pen from Sharpie and we're going to detail those tail lights in the back. This paint pen is a little bit on the creamy side. I prefer a little bit of a darker red. Now if you really need to, you can go back over this with a Sharpie permanent marker and it will darken it up some. But if you put this red base on there, whoop, made a mistake. Now you can take a Q-tip or a fine Q-tip and using a little bit of paint thinner, take that stuff right off. Here we've got an extra fine tip paint pen, and we're going to go ahead and do the grill lights in the front. I got these extra fine tips because those big thick paint tips, they just smeared paint all over the place. These fine tips work so much better and a lot more control. I recommend you get yourself a black one, a white one, a silver one, a red one, an orange one, and maybe even a yellow one. But get these pens, they'll really help you out. All I did was I did a search on Amazon for extra fine tip paint pens. Look at that. Look at that beautiful detail. Looking good. That's going to make this car look so much better. Maybe color in the edges just a little bit. Looking nice. Tail lights look great. Now we're going to polish up the windshield. The windshield's in excellent shape. Now if you wanted to take some extra fine sandpaper, like say 1200 grit or 1500 grit or something, and just scuff it up a little bit just to get a lot of little scratches out of there, you could do that and then polish it. But I didn't think it was necessary. Sometimes you don't have to clean up. You just have to clean up things. You don't have to sand it down or paint it up or anything else. I've had a few cars where I didn't even have to paint up the wheels or change them out because they look that good. That's going to be your decision though. Now I get asked all the time, do restorations decrease the price of the car? You know, it depends on the individual. Like I said in the past, if you've got a car that's in a blister pack that's never been opened and it's in good shape, your car's worth some money. But if you take an old car that's all chipped up, or some kid painted it or whatever like that, guys, it's a cheap car. It really is. I mean, people are getting buku bucks for these on eBay, and you've got to deal with that. If you want the car, you've got to pay for it. Now, if you wait long enough and you search long enough, you might be able to find a really good deal. Like this is what I do. Now, a good tip there is look for auctions that are ending in the middle of the night, like at anywhere between midnight and 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. That's when people are sleeping, okay? And take care of that. Anyways, you can find these cars if you really search hard. Just don't pay a bunch for them, and that's why people are getting the money, because people are paying these abnormally high prices. Anyways, as I was saying, yeah, these cars are worth money, but the reason I do this is not to sell them off. I mean, I sell them off occasionally, but I do it to make a really nice car for my collection, and that's why I got into this hobby in the first place. All right, we've got all the pieces together. We've got the body that's all painted up in that beautiful Spectraflame purple. Look at that fantastic finish. Here's the base. Base is all polished up. That looks fantastic. Look at that. The lights have been detailed in the front and the back. We got 4 medium meats all the way around. Brand new tires from the Redline shop. Looks fantastic. We got the glass all polished up. And this is a US version, so that works out good too. And this is the interior that's been cleaned up with soap and water and a toothbrush. Fantastic. Let's do our reveal. And this is what we started with. A 1969 Dodge Charger, or a custom Dodge Charger. There's a lot of paint chips on here, or as I call them, flea bites. The wheels need to be replaced. There's a lot of tarnish on the bottom. The windshield is scratched up, but it's in really good shape overall. And like I said, I blew out the post when I took it apart. But here I showed you how to repair that post if you do this. Now these older Hot Wheels, you want to use the 1/72nd tap, or the 1-72. On the newer style cars, go for that 256. That works fantastic. But the older Hot Wheels, the post is so much more narrow, and you're going to get a lot better results, and you're going to have a little bit more leeway if you happen to drill the post off to the side or something like that. All right, that's a really good tip for you folks. Now, like I said, people swear to the 256. This, they work great, but you've got to drill that post exactly in the center or you will blow it out. Okay? Let's show what we did. Look at how beautiful this restoration turned out. That beautiful Spectre Flame Purple from the Redline shop. Brand new wheels, also from the Redline shop. Now, if I wanted to replace the windshield, I could have. And the Redline shop carries those too. But look at how beautiful this car looks. Even with the repair of the post, you can't tell. But guys, you can do this. Guys and girls, you can do this. You can do this hobby. Now, before you get into Redlines, I recommend that you start with some main lines. Practice on some 99-cent cars, or pick up some 50-cent cars or quarter cars from the flea markets and stuff like that. Practice on those before you start to get into these, because if you start to blow out posts on these Redlines, it's going to cost you some money, folks, because you're not going to be able to repair them that well. But you can do this hobby. Look at the videos that we put out. Look at the other videos that my friends put out. There's so many guys out there that do this hobby. Fantastic. Now, I have a Patreon page, and I got a lot of nice folks that help me out with my supplies and everything else that I need to keep this channel going. I would like to point out a few new members. I'd like to point out Scott Turner, Michael Oxley, Ralph O'Neill Jr., and Pete Langford in the Hearse Driver section. I'd also like to thank, up in the Mortician level, Adam Bowen. Thank you folks so much for your generosity and your patronage. Now, I didn't get it in on this time, but Mr. Stacy Wright, he also moves up to the Gravedigger section. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for your generosity. My Morticians, Jake Rademacher, Sam Pascal, Air Warrior Coffee, Ed Ostrander, and again, Adam Bowen. Grim Reaper level, William K7 Robinson, and Mr. Dale Johnson. Please make sure you check out the other builders for this build-off challenge, and I'll leave a link in the comments section. This is Paul with Diecast Graveyard. Thank you so much for watching my videos and subscribing. Cheers.